Hello again. Welcome back to my train room. For this video, I'm going to talk about some of the construction of the shelving and the train room, as well as the train table itself. I've had a lot of requests for that during some of my other videos in the comments, and then also through some of the Facebook groups. This was designed to be a pretty inexpensive build. Because I wanted the train room to be very rustic looking and didn't need to be super finished, super detailed. Like you're going to see on the shelves, you'll see screw heads where I could have hidden them and done things like that, which I just didn't really care. Because really, I just wanted a place to store some trains so I didn't have to always take them in and out of the boxes when I used to run them on my layout that's upstairs in my garage. Then I'd bring them back down here to store them, and then we decided to build a train table down here as we got more involved in O-scale trains. And it just sort of keeps on evolving from there. So I'm going to switch to my iPad real quick to just a photo album to show you all. So you can see the shelves are attached directly to studs. Because at first I just framed up the studs and started building shelves to hold trains. I didn't really know if I would finish the entire room or not. So there's an early stage of the train room. Then that's my son Christian and I as we're framing up some stuff. And you know, one thing about Christian, he is who got me back into all this train stuff pretty hot and heavy. I was into racing motorcycles and cars and four-wheeler, not racing them, just going four-wheeling all the time. But then when he was born, he ended up having Fragile X syndrome, which is a lot like autism. And one of the early things he developed a love for that stemmed from that was the constant running of trains. And he had a little Lionel that ran on batteries on a little yellow track. Like my first Lionel was a Frisco, and then he had a Santa Fe version. And he would carry them things around all day, and he couldn't say a word, but he knew when the batteries were dead to hold up a train, and that meant needs new batteries, Dad. So anyway, the guy sucked me back in, and he will be forever my train buddy. You know, because once he loves something forever, and so he helps me when he can and how he can. So that's us as we're building the train. We can see there was a storage area, and there used to be a wall right there because we had our storage area right back there behind us, and behind some shelves there. So we continue building more shelves, and I'll talk about that construction in just a second because there's a lot of questions around that. Continue building more shelves as we got more and more trains out of the box. And more shelves, and then once we got all the shelves up, we started to we picked out a rustic style paneling, and we started finishing out the walls and decided we were going to go ahead and make this a room. We took into consideration the electrical box, and we installed a 20 amp circuit just for the train table, and it's custom run, hidden, so that it comes out underneath the train table with a 4 outlet box. And then we have power strip down there, so we can run everything, transformer, DCS, legacy, all the buildings we want, and never have to worry about electrical power for that. And then you can see that's the finished product. You've got a pocket hidden panel there, one screw at the top, take it out, and that just slides out. It's custom fit in there, and you can access the circuit breaker box. Then another thing was there's a water main that comes in the house right behind this with a shutoff, and that's the spot where we use the paneling screw instead of air nailing it up, so we can remove that to shut the water off or adjust water pressure. That removes quickly as well, and that would have been very difficult with a perimeter layout. And then we ran a power outlet up here with its own switch because we are going to put a loop and do like a HO layout around this level up here all the way around the room, because we have a lot of HO trains and we're not going to build a layout for them other than run around the ceiling. So a little bit about that. Then let's talk about the table. So again, was the wall down there, and we started at that wall because we knew that we had framed up that wall nice and square. So then we just followed that all the way, the length of 14.5 feet by the 93 inches wide. And it was 93 inches wide because I wanted to leave 3 foot of walkway on this side, because this is a main entry and exit into the rest of my basement. And then over here, you have about 30 inches around the rest of the entire table. So there's plenty of walk room. You can see we're nice and level there. Then that's how we're getting all the lumber in and out. There's 8 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot sections of lumber. And again, the table is 1x4s. The shelves are 1x6s. All of them are builder's grade. None of them are furniture grade. So it took a lot to straighten them out, but they were very affordable at the time of the build. Then there's the table as it's expanding. You can see I already got the foam where I was testing out up there. Then kept building. Put some carpet underneath it for, I have some train boxes down there and stuff. Then you can see how square the corners are and sort of how I put that together. Nice cuts. Then you can see down there it's nice and straight, and it's straight with the floor, straight with the wall. Then I put in these 2 cross panels that actually there's bracing underneath there too that help support it. So I could stand on that without it breaking or flexing, being 1x4 set on their flat side instead of the shrink side of being vertical. So since they're laying flat horizontally. And then you can see I cut a section in each to finish out so I can make it 2 inches thick. And then same thing on these guys, as they ran down, you can see I cut sections to make them 2 inches thick to double them up. I wasn't quite done at that very end yet when I took this picture. Then that's sort of how the table turned out. And then there's bracing here, screwed into the pole, and here. So that eliminates the flex in the middle of the table. And then there it is with the top on it. It's 2 inches thick of foam. So 4x8 sheets cut down and then overlapped. Then there's us again. All right, so again, this switch turns on everything. So transformer, DCS, Wi-Fi, legacy system, layout, power, everything. And, power strip underneath. So plenty of room for expansion. There are shelves underneath the table. On here. And then on this section. And this section. You can see where I expanded the table once already. I just got to undo these screws, and then I can make it as long as I want. They'll just go right back in. I can move this whole end down. Nothing stops me from doing that. So I made it really easy to expand. Just have to decide what length I want to make it. And then it'll go as far. If I wanted to go another, really, I would want to leave 2 feet on that side. So I could expand it, another like 5 or 6 feet. Then unique thing that I was thinking on this shelf here is I was really forward thinking. I like to go to train shows if there's stuff that I decide I want to sell to buy new stuff. And I wanted a shelf to display a lot of things. We used to have one I stored in the garage, and that was such a pain in the butt, just took up room. So we came up with the idea of building this shelf. and you know, it will fit on most of the tables that you can get at the train shows. And all I have to do is undo this screw, another screw down there, and this screw right here, and that section comes out, and then there's two legs that attach onto the shelf to keep it stable, and that is our display shelf for train shows. Now, when it came to building these shelves, again, you saw there was framing in the basement, and then all of this paneling went up after the framing, so there is no paneling behind these shelves. So these are, again, not furniture grade 1x6s. These are regular, you know, the ones that you try to find the straightest you can when you're in the aisle at Lowe's, but that doesn't always work. So what came in handy was by having those studs and no paneling to deal with and knowing where everything was, we would start on this very top board. So we'd screw the top board to the 2x4 like every 32 inches, so at every stud, and then we could bend it and flex it to be as straight as we needed it to be as our starting point. We just did that all the way down. Then, so this is 6 inches wide right here. Then we put this underneath that board, and then we do the same thing. We'd screw here, then we'd put in another screw at 32 inches underneath, another one at 32. Sometimes if it maybe needed more to stay straighter, we would do that. But by having that perfectly straight, and you see there's no gaps, it ended up looking really nice for not spending a lot of money on lumber. I mean, at the time, I think these 10-footers for this, I want to say they're like $5 or $6 a piece. And then the 12-foots were maybe $8 a piece or something. It wasn't very expensive to build these. I don't remember because this was back in 2019. But you can see they're pretty straight all the way down. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shelves on each side. And there's rhyme and reason behind that too. That's because I wanted to be able to walk through here carrying stuff without hitting a shelf, with this only being 3 foot wide. And then also, if I'm bending over here to get a train down, I don't want to be bumping against the shelf behind me. And I wanted, if I'm standing here, I can see every train on every shelf as I look around the room. So that was really important. So where the top of this table ends is where the bottom of this shelf begins. Same height. That was totally by design. And, you know, it's nice how that turned out because it gives us room and you don't feel cramped walking around in here. Then the flooring is the laminate flooring that has pre-padding already built onto the bottom. It looks great. It's durable. I've dropped a train or two on it and it didn't destroy the train. Much better than the concrete floor. Not as good as carpet, but also if you drop something in carpet, sometimes you can't find it. And I wanted the floor to be soft to walk on and, you know, really be durable as well. And so, again, going with the rustic theme, I wanted a weathered look on the floor. I love the weathered look on the paneling. And so the train room is really coming along. Just able to do so much with all the customizing of it when you build your train room from the ground up and you're not sort of repurposing a room. So hopefully that gave you all some insights. If there's anything that you had a question on that I did not cover, just put it in the comments. And by the way, you know, we're up to over 500 subscribers now, and that's really been since February because I haven't really done much outside of Halloween and Christmas layouts, and not really worried about subscribers, but this is so much fun. So if you guys want, click subscribe, see if we can get to 1,000 in the next couple weeks, and that would be a great thing. And you know, I'm learning a lot from you all as well, which I greatly appreciate. And until next time, that's my train room video, and I will talk to you all soon. See ya.